The sky above Earth had never looked so calm. Cities glimmered like silver jewels, suspended beneath the soft orange hue of the setting sun. Humanity had grown comfortable. Machines handled almost everything: farming, building, governance, even defense. People walked through their lives thinking nothing could harm them. But the calm was a lie. And the universe had been waiting, quietly, for the moment to strike. In orbit, far beyond the safety of the moon, a fleet appeared. The Zytherians, an alien species whose technology had outclassed even humanity's most advanced AI, moved in silence. Their ships were dark, jagged, and strangely beautiful. They did not send messages or warnings. They simply came. Back on Earth, alarms finally blared in the global command centers. Scientists and military leaders rushed to the displays, trying to make sense of the blips. "They're massive," muttered General Harrow, staring at a projection, "and moving faster than anything we've ever seen." Dr. Elena Maris, a xenobiologist working in the Arctic Research Station, felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold. She had studied alien biology and ancient human experiments for years, but nothing in her career prepared her for the fleet now visible in Earth's orbit. "They're not just passing by," she said quietly to her assistant. "They're coming for us. They're coming for us." Governments scrambled. Satellites fired missiles. AI drones tried to intercept the alien vessels. Each attack failed. The Zytherian shields absorbed everything. Explosions flickered against the void of space. Beautiful yet terrifying, like fireworks for a funeral. Humanity watched helplessly. As the world panicked, hidden deep beneath the Earth, the old chambers stirred. Buried under miles of rock and ice, doors that had never been opened for centuries began to glow. Machines designed to monitor the planet's health hummed to life. And within the chambers, humans, no ordinary humans, but the results of secret experiments from generations ago, began to awaken. The first to open his eyes was Captain Cale Varn. His body enhanced beyond normal human limits. Muscle, reflex, mind, they were all trained for war. He sat up slowly, scanning the room with sharp, calculating eyes. Around him, dozens of others stirred. Each one had been created for the moment Earth would need them most. Elena, unaware of their awakening, was still analyzing the readings in her lab. Then her instruments began to behave strangely. Pulses of energy, stronger than anything natural, surged from beneath the surface. Her curiosity overpowered her fear. She boarded a transport to investigate, heading toward the ancient, hidden facilities that had been nothing more than myths. When she arrived, the doors opened before she could touch them. Inside, she saw them humans unlike any she had ever known. They moved with precision, as if every step, every glance, had been practiced for decades. She gasped. "You." Cale approached her, his voice calm yet commanding. "We are here. The Earth is in danger." Outside, the Zytherians began their first assault. Cities on the coasts were hit with precision beams that melted skyscrapers in seconds. AI drones fought valiantly but were outmatched. Humanity's panic grew. Governments called for surrender, but there was no one to surrender to, only the unyielding, alien force descending upon their world. The super soldiers did not hesitate. Cale and his team moved to the surface, using underground tunnels and abandoned military bunkers to reach strategic locations. Every step was calculated, every action precise. They were not only soldiers, they were humanity's ultimate secret. Elena joined them, fascinated and terrified. She watched as the soldiers assessed the situation. They moved in silence, observing alien behavior, analyzing weak points, coordinating like a single organism. Where normal humans would panic, they acted with clarity and confidence. The first confrontation was near the ruins of what was once New York City. The Zytherians had already destroyed half of the skyline. Cale's team emerged from underground tunnels and positioned themselves in the shadows. "Wait for my signal," Cale said. His voice was calm, controlled. The alien scouts moved into the streets, confident and unaware. Then, in perfect unison, the super soldiers struck. They disabled drones, set traps using fallen debris, and even redirected alien weapons back against them. It was not brute force alone that won the first skirmish. It was strategy, creativity, and teamwork. Elena could hardly believe her eyes. She scribbled notes frantically, trying to record every observation. The soldiers were showing humanity at its best. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability. Even against a superior force, they fought not only with weapons but with the mind, exploiting every small weakness. Word of their victories spread quickly, despite the chaos. Survivors began organizing themselves around these mysterious defenders. Ordinary humans, inspired by the super soldiers, began to resist, helping in whatever ways they could. Humanity, which had almost given up, started to fight again. But the Zytherians were not easily defeated. They adapted quickly, changing their attack patterns, and began targeting the hidden facilities that had birthed the super soldiers. Kale realized that this was more than a battle for cities. It was a battle for the survival of the human species itself. "Gather everyone," Kale ordered. "We need to move fast. They will try to destroy what we are." Elena nodded, helping coordinate survivors. She marveled at the soldiers' efficiency. Every task, from evacuation to combat, was done with precision and care. They treated humans not as tools, but as allies. As night fell over the shattered cityscape, the battle slowed, but the tension remained. The Zytherians regrouped, their ships forming an ominous ring around the planet. Humanity was cornered, but not defeated. Beneath the surface, the hidden soldiers prepared for the fight that would come at dawn. Kale looked at Elena, his eyes sharp and serious. "This is only the beginning," he said. "They do not understand us yet. They will learn." Elena swallowed hard. She could see now what had been hidden for centuries. Humanity was not as weak as everyone thought. Somewhere deep inside, in genes long forgotten, the Earth had prepared a response for the day when survival seemed impossible. And that day had come. The ground beneath their feet vibrated slightly as more chambers opened. More soldiers awoke, their minds and bodies honed for war. Some had skills in engineering, medicine, or intelligence. Others had combat experience beyond imagination. Together, they represented the full potential of humanity at its peak. Elena felt a mix of awe and fear. These humans were not only soldiers, they were symbols of what humanity could become when pushed to the edge. The question now was whether the rest of the world could rise to meet them. As the first light of dawn touched the ruined city, the hidden super soldiers moved to the surface in formation. Their silhouettes against the burning horizon were not just a promise, they were a warning to any who would underestimate Earth again. The Zytherians' ships hovered, preparing for their next assault. They had faced resistance, but they had never seen humans like this. And that, Kale knew, would make all the difference. For the first time in centuries, humanity had hope. Not hope born from machines or diplomacy, but hope born from flesh, blood, and determination. The kind of hope that could not be calculated, predicted, or destroyed. The war for Earth had begun. The dawn over Earth revealed a world changed. Cities lay in ruins, smoke rising in spirals toward the sky. The alien fleet hovered in orbit like a silent predator, scanning, calculating, waiting. Humanity's defenses had failed, but the awakening of the super soldiers had given the world a chance that had been hidden for centuries. Captain Kale Varn led his team across the ruined landscape. Each soldier moved with perfect synchronization, their steps measured and precise. The humans they passed looked on with a mixture of awe and hope. For the first time in years, they saw someone fighting not out of fear, but out of purpose. Dr. Elena Maris walked beside Kale, carrying a portable lab unit. She observed the soldiers closely, fascinated by their speed, reflexes, and sharp awareness. They were more than fighters, they were strategists, engineers, and healers rolled into one. Her notes were already filling with observations, calculations, and questions. "Our priority," Kale said, his voice steady, "is to protect survivors and gather intelligence. We cannot allow them to destroy everything we are meant to save. The first true engagement came near the remnants of a coastal city. Zytherian drones swept down, scanning for resistance. These scouts were fast and heavily armored, their weapons capable of cutting through concrete as though it were paper. Ordinary humans would have panicked, but the super soldiers were ready. Kale's team moved into position among the crumbling buildings. Each soldier had a specialty. Some focused on reconnaissance, others on disabling drones, while a few created makeshift weapons from fallen debris. The soldiers did not just fight, they adapted. They read the drones' movements, predicted their attacks, and used the environment to their advantage. Elena watched as one soldier, a woman named Lyra, scaled a broken tower in seconds. From there, she used a repurposed communications device to hack a drone mid-flight, turning its sensors against its allies. Another soldier, Jarek, manipulated the debris of a collapsed bridge to create a trap that disabled multiple drones at once. The humans following the soldiers cheered, shouting encouragement. It was a small victory, but in the face of destruction, it felt monumental. The Zytherians did not expect resistance. They had never encountered humans capable of thinking so creatively, so quickly, in the midst of chaos. As the battle ended, Kael gathered his team. This is only the beginning. They will adapt, but so will we. We are not just fighting for survival. We are showing them what humanity can do. Elena could see the truth in his words. The soldiers inspired more than fear in the aliens, they inspired possibility. Ordinary humans began organizing themselves into resistance groups, taking guidance from the super soldiers. Engineers repurposed old vehicles into transport and defense units. Scientists modified abandoned tech into communication arrays. Children carried messages across dangerous streets, delivering hope in the form of information. But the Zytherians were not idle. From orbit, their main fleet deployed new ships. Faster and more heavily shielded than before, they began targeting infrastructure critical to human survival. Power plants, water purification systems, and communications hubs. Each strike sent waves of panic through the remaining cities, but Kael and his soldiers remained calm. We fight smarter, not harder, Kael said. They have numbers and technology, but we have something they cannot predict: ingenuity. Elena helped coordinate communications between scattered survivors and the super soldiers. Using her knowledge of alien biology and technology, she advised on weak points in the Zytherian systems. The soldiers used this information to plan strikes that seemed impossible. Sabotaging alien power grids, turning their own weapons against them, and luring ships into traps. One mission took them to the ruins of a major spaceport. The super soldiers descended into the wreckage, moving silently. They bypassed alien patrols, neutralized security drones, and activated old satellite systems to intercept the Zytherians' communications. Every move was calculated, every action precise. Humanity's resilience was on full display, but the Zytherians adapted quickly. They deployed a new type of drone, faster and more aggressive than the previous models. These drones were designed to hunt and kill the super soldiers specifically. Kael and his team faced their first serious challenge. Stay together, Kael instructed. We cannot fight them one-on-one. We must use teamwork. The battle was intense. Explosions lit up the ruins, debris flew through the air, and the hum of alien engines filled the streets. Yet, the soldiers moved with a precision and calm that made the chaos almost invisible. Using traps, misdirection, and quick improvisation, they neutralized the new drones without a single civilian casualty. Elena watched, amazed. "I've never seen humans like this," she whispered to Jarek, who had just disabled another drone with a cleverly rigged device. "They are more than human," Jarek said, a hint of pride in his voice. "They are what humans were meant to be when pushed to the edge." As night fell again, the super soldiers gathered on the rooftops, overlooking the city. Fires burned in the distance, but the survivors below were alive. They were inspired. Humanity, which had once been passive and complacent, was beginning to fight with courage and intelligence. Kael spoke to his team. "They will strike harder next time. The Zytherians will try to break us, But we are not just fighting for ourselves, we are fighting for every person who still has hope. Remember that. Elena joined him. They're learning too, she said. Every time we fight, we teach them. And every time, they adapt. But so do we. Kale nodded. Exactly. We do not just survive. We evolve. The next days were a blur of battles, strategy, and small victories. The super soldiers led strikes to reclaim power stations, protect survivors, and disable alien weapons. Ordinary humans, inspired by their bravery, began taking risks, helping each other, and proving that courage was not limited to the enhanced soldiers. One of the most daring operations involved the retrieval of a downed alien supply ship. Kale and a small team infiltrated the vessel, navigating narrow corridors and alien technology that was confusing even to Elena. They managed to extract valuable data about the Zytherians' plans and weaknesses, proving once again that human intelligence and ingenuity could rival the most advanced alien tech. Word of these victories spread quickly. Humans across Earth began to resist in ways previously unthinkable. Communities that had given up hope now worked together, sharing resources, fortifying cities, and fighting back. Even those who had lost everything found reason to stand and help. Yet, the Zytherians were relentless. They brought in reinforcements, more powerful weapons, and began coordinating attacks to cut off the super soldiers from human populations. Kale realized the next battle would determine the future of Earth. We need a plan that goes beyond reaction, Kale said. We cannot just respond to their attacks. We need to strike at the heart of their operation. Elena studied the alien data they had retrieved. There is a central command ship in orbit, she said. If we can disable it, we can disrupt their coordination. Kale's eyes narrowed. Then that is where we go. We fight not just on Earth, but among the stars. Humanity will not cower. We will show them our strength. The team prepared for the mission. They adapted old spacecraft, modified alien technology, and trained relentlessly. Every move, every calculation, was made with precision. The super soldiers were not just fighting, they were teaching humanity to stand, to think, and to resist. The day of the mission arrived. The super soldiers launched toward orbit, moving with speed and coordination that amazed even Elena. The Zytherians were waiting, but Kale's team was ready. Using tactics that combined human creativity, engineering, and strategy, they infiltrated the fleet. What followed was a battle of wits, speed, and ingenuity. Alien drones swarmed, weapons fired, and chaos filled the void. Yet, the super soldiers moved with purpose. Every action was calculated, every decision precise. They disabled key systems, turned alien weapons against their ships, and managed to send critical data back to Earth, allowing human cities to prepare for further attacks. The climax of the battle saw Kale and a small team face the central command ship. It was massive, its technology far beyond anything humans had ever built. But Kale relied not on strength alone, he relied on strategy, improvisation, and the human mind. Using Elena's guidance and the soldiers' abilities, they penetrated the ship, disabled its main systems, and escaped just as it began to collapse. When they returned to Earth, the humans below erupted in cheers. It was a small victory, but it was monumental. Humanity had proven that even against overwhelming odds, courage, intelligence, and teamwork could prevail. Kale looked at Elena. "This is just the beginning," he said. "They will strike again, and harder. But humanity has awakened, and we are not alone anymore." Elena smiled, hope shining in her eyes. "Then we fight. Together." And so, Earth stood a little taller. The super soldiers had risen, ordinary humans had found courage, and the world had learned that even when everything seemed lost, humanity could adapt, overcome, and rise stronger than ever. The Zytherians were still out there, waiting, calculating, and learning. But so was humanity, ready, united, and unstoppable. The sky above Earth was streaked with smoke and fire. Cities, though battered, still held their people, who had learned to fight and survive. Humanity was no longer passive. The hidden super soldiers, awakened from centuries of hibernation, led the way, inspiring ordinary humans to rise and fight alongside them. But the Zytherians had prepared their deadliest weapon, yet a device in orbit capable of destroying the planet's atmosphere, sterilizing Earth in hours. Captain Cale Varn stood on a ridge overlooking the ruined city. His team was assembled, each soldier tense but ready. "This is our final stand," Cale said. "If we fail, Earth fails. But if we fight together, we show the universe what humanity is capable of." Dr. Elena Maris checked her equipment one last time. "We know their weaknesses," she said. "We can disable the weapon. But we'll need speed, strategy, and courage. Everyone must trust each other." The super soldiers moved like shadows through the streets, coordinating with human resistance groups. Civilians carried supplies, helped construct barricades, and guided soldiers through hidden routes. Children relayed messages, and engineers rigged old machines into defensive devices. Every human, from the smallest to the oldest, played a part. Above them, the Zytherians' fleet formed a perfect ring around the planet. Their command ship, now fully operational, controlled every drone and weapon system. Any direct attack would be suicidal. Cale studied the fleet from his vantage point. "We fight smarter, not harder," he said. "They rely on numbers and technology. We rely on ingenuity, teamwork, and the unpredictability of the human mind." The plan was daring. A small team of super soldiers would infiltrate the Zytherian command ship and disable the planetary weapon from the inside, while the rest of the soldiers and human forces distracted the fleet below. It was dangerous, nearly impossible, but it was humanity's only hope. As night fell, the infiltration team boarded modified spacecraft. Cale led the squad, followed by Lyra, Jarek, and 2 others, each with skills designed for this mission. Elena monitored from Earth, providing data on alien ship layouts, security protocols, and the weapons systems. The journey through orbit was tense. Alien patrols scanned the void, but the soldiers moved with precision, evading detection. They docked with the command ship quietly, slipping inside before alarms could sound. Inside, the ship was a maze of corridors, glowing with unfamiliar technology. "This way," Cale whispered, moving confidently through the halls. The team followed, disabling drones and sensors with improvised devices and quick thinking. Every step required calculation and courage. The alien ship's design was unfamiliar, but the super soldiers adapted, using logic, creativity, and intuition to navigate. Meanwhile, on Earth, the remaining soldiers led a coordinated assault. They lured Zytherian drones into traps, redirected attacks using hacked systems, and coordinated civilian resistance. Ordinary humans took up arms in clever ways, using their knowledge of the environment to set ambushes and protect key locations. Every action demonstrated the ingenuity and courage that made humanity unique. Back on the command ship, Cale's team reached the chamber housing the planetary weapon. It was massive, pulsating with dangerous energy. The Zytherians had placed it under tight security, but the soldiers were prepared. Lyra worked to override the energy shields while Jarek analyzed the control panel. "They're learning faster than we expected," Elena said over comms. "They anticipate some of your moves, but not everything. Trust your instincts." Cale nodded. Human instincts are what they cannot predict. The team moved as one, disabling security systems and avoiding patrols. Lyra found a critical control sequence and began overriding it. The energy in the chamber pulsed dangerously, threatening to explode if a mistake was made. Kyle and the others supported her, keeping the alien guards distracted and improvising solutions when needed. Time was running out. The weapon's activation countdown displayed a relentless timer. 1 hour, then 59 minutes, then 58. Below, the Zytherian fleet noticed anomalies in their systems. Drones malfunctioned, weapons misfired, and communications lagged. Kale's team was succeeding. Ordinary humans cheered from the streets, watching alien ships falter. The planet itself seemed to join in the fight, as if Earth itself was alive and defending its children. The countdown reached 5 minutes. Lyra finished the override sequence, and the weapon powered down, its energy dissipating safely. A cheer went up inside the command ship and across Earth. Kale smiled briefly, but they were not finished. The command ship still loomed, a threat in orbit. "Time to go," Kale said. The team retraced their steps, moving quickly and efficiently. Alien drones pursued them, but the soldiers' training and adaptability gave them the upper hand. They escaped the ship and returned to their spacecraft just as the command ship lost its ability to control the fleet. Back on Earth, the remaining soldiers coordinated the final push. The alien ships, disorganized and vulnerable, were neutralized by human ingenuity. Drones were redirected. Weapons were disabled. And the survivors on the ground assisted in clever ways, collapsing buildings to block attacks, setting decoy signals, and guiding ships into traps. The Zetherians, shocked by the human resistance, began retreating. Their fleet, once confident, now struggled against the combined strategy, courage, and creativity of the planet's defenders. Humanity, once thought weak, had become a force the universe could not ignore. Kale stood on a ridge overlooking the battlefield. Around him, the super soldiers regrouped with survivors, their faces tired but triumphant. Elena joined him, smiling. "We did it," she said. "We stopped them," Kale shook his head. "We didn't just stop them. We showed them what humanity is capable of. They underestimated us, and they will not forget it." Across the world, humans celebrated. Cities, though scarred, were alive. Survivors worked together to rebuild. The ordinary humans who had once feared for their lives now understood courage, creativity, and unity. The super soldiers integrated with communities, teaching strategy, engineering, and defense. Humanity had not only survived, it had evolved. In the weeks that followed, Earth became a symbol of resilience. Stories of bravery and ingenuity spread from city to city. The hidden soldiers, once forgotten, became legends. Children learned of their courage, inspired to think creatively and act with courage. Scientists and engineers worked with the super soldiers to prepare for future threats, ensuring humanity would never again be caught unprepared. KL stood atop a hill one evening, looking at the horizon. The sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. He thought of the battle, the courage he had seen, and the unity that had saved their world. Elena joined him. "Do you think they'll return?" she asked. Kale nodded slowly. "Perhaps. But if they do, humanity will be ready. We have awakened not just the soldiers, but the potential of every person. That is our strength. That is what makes us human." The world below continued to rebuild. Fires smoldered in some areas, but hope burned brighter. Humanity had faced extinction and survived, not because of machines, not because of technology alone, but because of courage, intelligence, and unity. And somewhere deep within the earth, more hidden chambers awaited. More humans, trained and ready, lay dormant. If ever the planet faced a threat like this again, they too would awaken. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not passive. Humanity, at its best, was unstoppable. As night fell, Kale and Elena watched the stars. Somewhere out there, the Zytherians retreated, learning that humans were not to be underestimated. But on Earth, humans had learned something even more important. That when they stood together, when they relied on their courage, creativity, and unity, nothing, not even the most advanced alien force, could break them. The war was over, but the story of humanity had only just begun. Earth had survived, humanity had risen, and the hidden super soldiers, once forgotten, now stood as guardians, teachers, and symbols of the boundless potential of humankind. For the first time in centuries, the people of Earth knew that even in the darkest hours, humanity could endure, adapt, and triumph. They had faced extinction and shown the universe the power of human spirit. The stars above shone a little brighter that night. Humanity had awakened and nothing would ever be the same.